Mä oon Kanneli ja tää on mun Suomi. The Finnish writing system is fairly logical. One could even argue that it's almost phonetical. I don't really think that's true, but it's still pretty close to the truth. In this video, I would like to explain how the Finnish writing system works in basics. And in the continuation videos, I want to explain why the writing system isn't actually that simple as it's usually shown to be, and what kind of irregularities and other quirks it has for Finnish learners. This video is, by the way, not a pronunciation guide of how to pronounce Finnish from written language. Although, because the Finnish writing system is quite logical, you kind of can use this video as a pronunciation guide. But I am more interested in showing how the Finnish native speakers are taught to write their own language. So you might have seen videos of how to pronounce Finnish when you have learned to read it, but this is rather how to learn to write Finnish if you already know how to speak it. The Finnish writing system has a quite simple principle. The principle of the writing system is that one letter represents one sound. One sound is represented by one letter. There is one exception to this, which I will discuss with you later. But for the time being, you can always assume a letter represents a sound. It is always going to be that one sound. If you know how a word is pronounced, you know how the word is written. The Finnish language has 8 different vowels, and they are represented by 8 different letters. A, O, U, Ä, Ö, Y, I, and E. Now, if you know how a word with only vowels is pronounced, for example, ui, which means they swam, then you know directly how to write it. So ui is u and i, u, i, so you would write it u and i, or with lowercase, of course, u and i. So this would be they swam. For each Finnish consonant sound, you have a corresponding letter. B, d, g, p, t, k, f, v, l. Then, a disclaimer, although I'm a native Finnish speaker, I do not pronounce this R in the correct way. I can try to pronounce it r here with the tongue, and that's how it should be pronounced, and I have been practicing that. But almost for my whole life, I have always pronounced this R in my throat, like r, and you might hear the difference or not, but I am not pronouncing it correctly, so pardon me. But yes, r, which is the correct way, or r, which is the way that I pronounce it in the throat. Then m, n, s, y, h. And these are all the sounds in Finnish. All of them aren't actually originally Finnish sounds. For example, g is not a sound that Finnish naturally has, but because we have it in some loan words nowadays, we do have its own letter, and it's been quite a long time since the sound became a part of the Finnish phonetical library, if one might say. I will actually put the year here when g started to appear regularly in the Finnish speak. Then we also have 2 oddballs. What are these? These are actually part of the Finnish alphabet, but they are not even taught in school. So this is the letter that you officially should write the sound sh in Finnish, and that is not a Finnish sound. So usually the sound sh in foreign words, for example shampoo, would be actually pronounced with the regular s in Finnish. So we wouldn't have shampoo, but we would have sampo. But nowadays people tend to pronounce the newer words with the sh sound, with the sh sound, not the original s sound. So this is the official way to write the sound, and this way is usually used, but it is not officially allowed. So this is actually bad Finnish. This is the one that you should use if you are writing the words with this sh sound. But unfortunately, most Finnish people actually write it with this one. And the reason why this is not officially allowed is because this fights against the principle of the Finnish writing system, which was that for each sound there should be only one letter, and the sound sh is a single sound. But if you write it with two letters, then you are breaking the principle, because in practice this way the s should be pronounced s in Finnish, because these are two letters. This one is s and this one is h. So this should be written s, not sh. So not this one. This is not good Finnish. This is the one you should be using. And also this one. This is the one for j. So, for example, in the word Kazakstan in Finnish, this is the one used in the Kazakstan sound that you have in the middle of the word. Now we have learned the letters for vowels and the letters for consonants. And this is a thing that Finnish native speakers also learn in school. Except for those sh and j letters. I don't know why they're not taught in schools, but they are the official guidelines how to write these kind of sounds. And now we learn the one rule that breaks the principle in the Finnish writing system that one letter equals a single sound. This is about the sound ŋ. So, in Finnish we have a sound ŋ, and this sound is written in actually multiple ways in Finnish. And the most regular way to write this sound would be ng. So now we are breaking the principle that this actually isn't pronounced like ng, but it's ŋ. So it's a totally different sound. It's not a combination of two sounds that each of these single letters represent. Ŋ is actually quite an oddball in the Finnish writing system, because in words like kenkä, this n actually is not n sound. This is not kenkä, but it's kenkä. So n before a k actually is an ŋ sound, not an н sound. So the same sound that is usually represented by this combination of the letters n and g. Actually, fun thing that is not usually taught in Finnish schools, or at least I haven't learned it in Finnish schools, or maybe I just wasn't listening at the time, but this combination of letters always represents a long ŋ sound. And we will get to this. But this one is always a very short ŋ sound, kenkä. But then if we have a word like this, kengät, this is actually a long ŋ sound. So they are the same sound, but the length of the sound is different. If you don't know, in Finnish the difference in length of sounds makes a very big difference. For example, this is the word tuli. It means fire. This is the word tuuli. It means wind. This is the word tulli. It means customs, in the sense that you have to pay customs when you have received a package from another country, for example. And then this is tuuli, which means, roughly translated, it probably was windy. So as you can see, the tuli, tuuli, tulli, and tuuli, they all have different ways to write them, and they are all pronounced in different ways. So in Finnish, if there is a long vowel, then you just write two of the vowels from one another. This is u and this is u. Then the same for consonants. If you have a short consonant, you write it with just one letter. But if you have a long consonant, you write it with two letters. So you have tuli and you have tulli. So once a child has learned how to write each sound in the Finnish writing system, and then has learned how you write the long vowels and the long consonants, and has learned the few irregularities that happens with the ng sound written with the ng or n before a k. Then you just can learn to read. So, I, r, y, o, I, t, u, s, y, a, r, i, j, a, r, j, e, s, e, y, n, ä. Kirjoitusjärjestelmä. I, t, os, n, o, i, n, o, i. Kiitos ja moi moi!